You're watching Drake Queen Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drake Queen Gaming. It's something mounts where the gaming drag. Today I'm coming back at you with a Let's Play episode of Tennis Ace, June's Path. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. I suppose if I'm given the choice, I'd rather go for the less rowdy ones. Oh, let's see. Yeah, that's right. Alright, so... okay. Let's see. Okay. Alright, so let's go with Jin and Ryoji this time. Okay. I see two Jin and Ryoji having a conversation together in a corner of the room, both seemingly smiling and laughing along. Ryoji isn't holding his phone or any other portable device like he usually would, which is unusual. But in general, despite Jin being somewhat annoying with how boisterous and loud he can be, he's also one of the funnest people to hang out with. Hey there, what are you two talking about? Oh, Yuichi, good timing. Settle a dispute for us, will you? Sure, if I can. Hey, getting outside opinions is cheating! The bear raises an eyebrow, shooting him a weird look. You're just saying that because you think he's going to agree with me. And didn't you just ask him because you think he's going to agree with you? Just a reminder that I still have no idea what is going on, guys. You've played on both the current generation consoles, right? Yeah, I have. I don't own both, but Shuichi has let me borrow his before since he rarely uses it. Right. Anyway, you know how the two have very different controller designs? Yeah, they do. The Imperia, that's a cool name for a console. The Imperia's controller is much fatter and more rounded, while the Ruby is a little angular? Right, yeah, that's a proper way to describe them. I was having trouble coming up with the words. Doesn't surprise me. What did you say? Nothing. The mouse clicks his tongue, crossing his arms and frowning at me with an attempted menacing look. I just choose to ignore him. Let me guess, you guys were arguing about which one is better? That's right. No, I'm not going to tell you what each of our opinions are so as to not call your impressions. I just want to know which way you lean on. I know I'm supposed to be thinking of the question they've given me, but instead I'm just awed by how someone who barely gives more than basic grunts to everything and is always spacing out can be so eloquent as soon as the subject is gaming. He's like an idiot savant or something. But back to the matter at hand. I've played the Imperia a lot less since I don't really have one. The first generation controls a few years ago were truly awful, though. Whoever's idea it was to put a keyboard on the back of a controller is really an idiot. He nods thoughtfully, his expression betraying nothing. Right, I agree with you so far. That said, because their controller is chunkier, it also fits on the hand better. My fingers aren't having to reach around it and tense like a claw because it's so thin. They just naturally rest on the keys. So I'd say I like the Imperia's controller better. What? Unlike the bear, who's good at keeping a poker face on and seemingly neutral while talking, the mouse's consternation is written plainly on his face. Ryoji's mouth quivers ever so slightly, quirking up in a smile for only barely a second before going back to its usual stoic look. See? I told you. That proves nothing! Why are you getting so riled up over this? It's just a game controller. Hearing me refer to it as just a game controller, Kimigawa's brow twitches visibly for a second. I immediately realize that making light of anything gaming related in front of him is probably not the best idea, so I'll quickly try to cover up for my own mistake. Oh, that's some good bubbly. Okay. But it's cool that you guys are so passionate over it. Having passion is good, you know. Amusingly, even though the bear's expression doesn't really shift at all, I can also tell that his face is relaxed considerably. Gotta remember to know my audience before speaking. If anything, it at least proves you have the unpopular opinion. Unpopular doesn't mean it's wrong. It is a discussion of personal preference, so there's hardly ever going to be an absolute right option anyway. But with that said, if you think the Ruby has a better control, then you are wrong and are an idiot. Now you're just throwing wood onto the fire on purpose. Kamigawa shrugs, watching the mouse grind his teeth with his head lightly to the side. Just you wait. When Kobayashi gets here, I'm going to ask his opinion, and I'm sure he'll side with me. The bear scoffs, this time the derisive smile on his face becoming plain for all to see. Kobayashi is a man of culture. There's no way he'd side with you. Why are you guys even dragging June into this? He's not even here. He's the only other person in this class that comes close to sharing my love for games. It goes without saying that I respect his opinion more than anyone else's. Hey, we've known each other for 2 years and talk about games often. How come you're disregarding me that quickly? No offense. You can't just retroactively call no offense. It seems like I just did. I'm starting to think I liked you better when you barely talked. Sometime later. The bell rings in the middle of Shima-sensei's lecture on the 5 greatest generals in feudal Japan. The buck sighs, quickly writing an assignment on the board. For our next class, I want you all to write a paper on the most influential figures in the Sengoku period. Okay, so let me load up. Load that one. Okay. So Kyoko and Vic. Whoa, Kyoko is talking to Victor? Now that's an unusual pairing. I wonder what's going on there. What about Paris? What about Paris? When I get closer to the two, I notice Vic frowning and sighing a lot while the cat chats with him excitedly. She seems to either be oblivious or not care about his discomfort. Either way, when I get close enough to overhear, I see that the two are talking about France. Is it as glamorous as people say? They do call it the City of Love, after all. I don't know. I've never been to Paris. What? How can you not? Aren't you French? Just because I'm French, that means I need to have gone to Paris? Okay. Well, yes, of course it does. Does that mean you've been to Akihabara? To Akihabara... What? If Paris being a popular tourist spot means I need to have been there to be French, then surely that means you've also been to all the popular tourist spots in Japan, right? How's Mount Fuji? I haven't been to Mount Fuji either. Really? Well, why not? Aren't you Japanese? The cat pouts, shooting the fox a dangerous glare which seems to bounce off of him completely. In fact, he seems far too annoyed to care. Hey there, you two. Is this a bad time? Oh, hey there, Yuichi. No, you're just fine. I'm trying to learn more about France from him, but he's being super unhelpful. You just walked up to me and said France, huh? What? How else am I supposed to start a conversation? The fox rubs the bridge of his snout, sighing. You know, just because I'm French doesn't mean we have to make the conversation about France. That's the only thing no one else in here is able to talk about. You're the only person in this entire school that's from there. It's not the only interesting thing about me, you know. The fox sighs, sounding more and more defeated by the passing second. He shoots me a pitiful look, almost as if he were asking for help. I don't really mind inserting myself into the situation, and I'm more or less familiar with how the cat thinks at this point, so it's not really a big deal. Hey, Nikanishi, why are you so interested in Paris anyway? Why wouldn't I be? It's a city of love, fashion, gastronomy, art, and culture. It's the most interesting place in the world. Wow, I'm not one to usually say this, but that is such a basic girl thing to say. Well, I've never been there, and I came to Japan because I'm interested in Japan. I didn't come here to talk about France. But, by the way, Vicken, you came here all on your own, right? Your family didn't come with you. He nods, his face relaxing slightly and smiling with little relief at my rather forceful change of subject. Yes, it's a little hard to adjust to living alone for the first time, but I have to say I quite enjoy the experience so far. Don't you get lonely? A little, but the people here in school have been really kind to me. They invite me to hang out quite often, and I don't have to sulk on my own at home. Speaking of sulking, I can see with the corner of my eye that Kyoko is totally glaring at me right now for stealing her conversation partner. I feel a little bit bad, but I really don't want her annoying the fox either. Poor guy looks super uncomfortable. See, Nikanishi? If you just ask questions, you can find out a little bit more about him. Don't need to force him to talk about things he doesn't want to talk about. Now, could you please stop glaring at me? It's kind of making my skin crawl. She shoots me one last murderous look and walks away in a huff, not even bothering to say farewell. Victor and I are both left staring at her, probably feeling similar levels of confusion over the entire ordeal. What was that? I have no idea. She just approached me all of a sudden and started asking about France. How long was she bothering you for? Probably 5 minutes. Like a lifetime, though. She wouldn't take my attempts to disengage seriously. It's so weird. I wonder what's gotten into her. I don't know. Other than her barking orders at me during the preparation for the festival, I don't remember her ever even saying 2 words to me. Well, I wouldn't worry too much about it anyway. I've known her for a while, and I still don't understand that girl. Is she always like this? No, that's the weird part. She's usually haughty, sure, but she tends to be a lot more reasonable. What's that fox dick? I wonder what's gotten into her. Still, thanks for the save. I felt like I was going to have to deal with that until the bell rang. It's not like it would have lasted that long anyway. The bell rings in 10 minutes. That would have meant the already uncomfortable conversation would have been 3 times longer. I mostly just came over here because I was bored and curious over how the two of you had got talking, so it's not like I had anything better to do. Really? We can hang out for a bit if you want. I have nothing better to do as well. I was thinking of going over to Jin and Ryoji as well anyway. Yeah, that sounds good by me. Although I do have to ask, how come you came over here to talk to us in the first place? Is June not around? No, he hasn't arrived yet. Why do you ask? The fox shrugs. Usually you just hang around him and not really bother talking to other people. At least that's the impression I've gotten since I transferred here. Yep, that's, I suppose that you might be right in a way. I have to admit, I was a bit surprised when I found out he'd only transferred here a few weeks before me. How come? It's just that you two are so close to each other. It seems like you've known one another for so long. Is that so? What's with that look on your face? You look like you've sucked on a lemon. It's really awkward being called out on stuff like this, especially when it's something I've only started to notice recently myself. It's nothing, I just caught me by surprise, that's all. Huh, if you say so. You don't need to look at me so suspiciously. Kind of surprised, though. I'd never really stopped to pay much attention to it, but ever since the festival, I've been realizing a lot of people are really fond of him. Of course, he's really friendly, always cheerful, doesn't discriminate. It's fun to watch and very amusing. Why wouldn't he be popular? It's weird to see people talk about him like that. You almost make him sound like he's the class mascot or something. Hey, I hadn't thought about it that way, but it does seem like he is. I know I've thought of him as our group's mascot, before, but it's just weird when other people say it out loud. Honestly, I wish I could hang out with him more often, but you already hog him most of the time. I don't hog him. First of all, you can't hog a person, unless that person is a hog. God, I wish other people could take a peek inside of my head sometimes. It's always so hilarious in here. You say that, but the two of you are always together. Surely not always. I don't know. You guys are hanging out together more often than not. But then again, your entire group of friends seems to be ridiculously close to each other. I'm surprised he even managed to weasel his way in. Honestly, sometimes I am too. It was so seamless I didn't even notice it till it happened. He just fits in too well. I think he's just sort of the people that everyone likes. Just the sort of people that everyone likes. Which is weird when I think about it. I remember him telling me that he didn't really have friends in his old school. Really? I find that a little hard to believe. Who wouldn't like someone like him? Now that I think about it, that's true. Wouldn't he have had friends in his old school? When I think about it, I don't really know all that much about him before he moved here, do I? It's not just the illness, which at this point is very obvious he has, but refuses to talk about. Alright, y'all, I'm gonna pause it right there. I'm tired, y'all. It's been a long day. Anyway, thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Alright, y'all. I love you all, and I'm on. See y'all in the next video. Bye-bye.